pity party, 'cause I got things to do. Not about to let them negative nonsense work me through and through. I'm fearfully, wonderfully made, got the stuff to stand the test. Just gotta keep pushing, have faith, and do my best. Hey, hey, hey. Keep it moving. God willing, tomorrow's.
Grace and peace. This is Stacia Hobdy, and you're watching Fade to Black. Today's show, I'll be featuring a wonderful new publisher, Karen Clements. She's a journalist who's been covering news and events within the borders of southeastern Queens for the last 7 years. Her passion for news and listening to the frustration of local residents about the lack of coverage and respect from traditional media prompted her to become her own publisher. She has started a wonderful newspaper that's entitled Communities of Color. We want to welcome today Karen Clements to the show. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you.
So tell me, I think that it's a very, very commendable effort to write a newspaper. I want everybody to see this. It's Communities of Color, and is it a weekly or is it a monthly publication?
Right now, it's a monthly publication.
Monthly?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm hoping that as it builds and grows, that we can change the schedule at least to bi-monthly.
Okay. And can you tell our audience a little bit about what the focus is about the newspaper, where you actually get the articles, to write stories for it, so on and so forth?
Well, we focus on news and information within the borders of Southeast Queens. It's a predominantly African American community, so if there's an issue that might be outside the borders but relevant to communities of color, we cover that too. I kind of have my own press room, so people kind of send me information about what's going on, whether they're an elected official or they have a nonprofit or they're just someone in the community. They let me know what's going on, and if it's something that I believe would be of interest to the community, then we go out and we cover those events.
Okay, that's great. So I think I'm very interested in knowing what prompted you to start your own newspaper. Like, can you tell us a little bit about your background, how you actually started in journalism?
Well, I actually studied philosophy in college and writing, and I was trying to put something together with that. I wrote for my college newspaper, and when you study philosophy, it's a very strange business, and you want to be able to publish. But in order to get published, you have to be published. So I'm like, you know what, why don't I just be a reporter? I can get myself a byline since I know how to do that, been doing that for a while. And somehow it just connected with me. Like, all these years I've been a reporter and didn't even really notice it. So when I went back to it, to lean on it, to get someplace, it was that connection that stuck with me. And that's how I started covering news and events throughout the area. I worked for the Queens Chronicle for a while. I worked for WNYC for a while. So I was doing all of these wonderful journalist pieces for other people, and then it was like, well, why can't I do this for myself? Why am I making other entities rich? Why am I not getting the opportunities I think I deserve? Community newspapers are very big. We have a lot of them in this area that cover different topics, but nothing that really focuses on news for our community. And that's what the residents were telling me. And so somehow it all came together and Communities of Color was born.
Wonderful. I'll tell you what, we're going to get a little more comfortable. We're going to kick back and these pillows out our way. We get a little comfortable. That's good. I think that, you touched upon some significant points just in terms of sometimes we don't readily have opportunities available to us after, quote unquote, we're instructed that the best way for us to get ahead within our society is to get a wonderful education. So we go to higher education. A lot of us acquire a number of different degrees, so on and so forth. And then when we come out, especially in this economy now, there really aren't jobs that are readily available for us. So it's really, really refreshing to have you here today as living proof that thinking outside of the box, a combination of being passionate about, your writing skills, and also just being cognizant of your community around you not being able to get the necessary services that they're looking for. So I think that that's wonderful that, you were actually able to act upon that and to be able to produce something as wonderful as this. So tell us a little bit about the actual content, like your file. Are there specific areas within the newspaper? Do you have specific regular sections that?
Well, we try to follow a traditional format. It's a newspaper, so news is our primary goal. I like to do a feature article every month where we take one topic and kind of, go a little bit deeper into it and kind of, bring to light an issue for our viewers. Our readers. And then we do some traditional news, just what's going on in the community. We go to the precincts, so we might get a crime report if there's something that neighbors need to know. We do 2 columns, the Civic Corner and an entertainment column.
Okay.
And the Civics Corner deals with how do you engage civically in your community.
Okay.
And the entertainment is lighter fare. And we like to do an entertainment segment because there's a lot of cultural activity in the community. And a lot of the readers like to connect with that. Mm-hmm. And of course, events. We always want to list events so people know what's available for free in the community.
Okay, I also think that that's wonderful to know also. I agree, as also being a resident here in Southeast Queens, that I found out that there were so many activities, so many different cultural events that go on right here within the various different parks and things. But I didn't know that from any type of really exposed media. I just walked around. Like every year I would walk around in the summertime and I would bump into events. Right across the street here from where I'm at St. Albans Park, they have a wonderful jazz festival.
And they do that every year.
Every year, which I'm hoping that, I'll be able to get my band, yes, this is a plug, to be able to be participants in 2012. That would really be exciting.
Well, part of what we want to do with the paper is we also want to highlight what's good about the community. We keep hearing about the shootings and the thises and the that's and okay, that happens in this community, but that's not the only thing that happens, and everyone's so busy talking about black people being thugs and, underachievers, and that doesn't happen. Our center always has a photo gallery, and we like to just take pictures so you see how wonderful the people in this community are. And we also believe that media, especially positive media, contributes to the economics in the community. When you have a paper in the community that's saying great things about the community, which is totally true in this community, it helps build the economics in it. If we're just talking about shootings, what business would want to open here?
Right.
But if we give a portrait of what's going on, then maybe a Starbucks will go, hey, that's a good place for me. I want my business there. Look at this woman, she's doing this stuff.
Right.
I want to be there, and so that helps fuel the economy in our communities too.
I agree. You're right in the center of things happening. And as a result, as this picks up and a lot more people know about it, it's a viable conduit now and a resource for people to be able to go to. Part of this show that we always want to emphasize is that we are bringing to our community a lot of information that they might not necessarily know about. And this young lady is definitely doing this through, one of the oldest forms of media, that there are. The newspaper still works. And I try to tell people all the time that, we're in an age now where we're extremely internet driven. Everything's all about the World Wide Web and the internet. Everyone now goes to even electronic books for a lot of their reading. But I tell people all the time that older people and just, people that are on the go all the time, they still like the touch and the feel of newspapers. I don't think that newspapers are going anywhere anytime soon. I
They're
really
not,
don't.
especially not on a community level.
Yeah.
And our community, we're not as online as people say we are. There's a huge digital divide. People in our community don't have access. It can be a luxury, at least $30 a month. What are you going to do? But we're building the online component, because if you do have access to the internet, where are you going to go for community news? You go to CNN and you're going to get national stuff.
Right.
You're not going to get local stuff. Local New York news is going to be, Manhattan. If they get into Queens, they'll get to Astoria. When they get to our neighborhoods, it's someone got shot. It's not all of the other wonderful things that happen here. So that's why I am building the online component, so that people know when they want community news, this is where we go online.
Okay, great. So with regards to the actual articles, do you have a team of writers, or are you the editor-in-chief as well? I get the impression that you, ma'am, probably wear 1,000,001 hats.
I do wear every single hat for the company. I own the company that publishes the newspaper, so I'm the publisher.
Okay.
I'm also the editor, so I edit all the articles. I'm also the writer, so I write a large portion of the articles, but I do not write them all.
Okay.
I have 2 columnists that are responsible for theirs, and then I'm always trying to get writers in. So if a writer doesn't even have a lot of journalistic experience, but they do want to pursue that path, then as an editor, I can help bring them down to that path. I would love it if the community covered their own news, so we have people who contribute articles. I think in this month we have someone who contributed the sports piece. We have a sports corner that we're trying to develop, because a lot of people in the community say they don't get sports news from this community, so we're developing that piece. So I have people who are more connected sports-wise, because I'm not. I'll go to a game or two, but this community is huge for sports, especially soccer when the season starts.
Okay.
So we want to cover that, but we want people in the community to cover that too. So we do have people who come and contribute articles, and I work with them too.
Okay, wonderful. And just because of listening to what you said, it sounds as though you having your own publishing company, that you're probably the person who actually takes the actual materials to the printer to actually get it printed.
I do that too. I even pick up the newspapers and I distribute.
That's great. It's nice to hear that you actually have somebody who's helping you to do something.
Because you can't do it alone. You really can't.
Yeah, it's a huge.
And I have a lot of good support in the community, which is essential. People who like the paper and they want to pass it along, and pass it along to their neighbors. They put it at their establishments. A lot of the elected officials keep it in their offices, make sure that it's at events and things like that.
I think that's wonderful also, because I was just getting ready to segue into my next question. How has it been received since it's come out? And, do you have that kind of a backing behind you, with public officials, so on and so forth? Because, obviously it could only help them in terms of, their various different initiatives. And I know the one that, you and I had discussed sometime before, like even the flood situation that we've had here that's been very prevalent within our areas. And I think you actually probably did a story.
Yes, we did a feature article on the floods, because it's huge in our neighborhood.
Yeah, so I think that's great. You're putting out news that's noteworthy again for our community, and also what I like about that I was saying to you is that it's should be a source of inspiration for our young people to understand that, again, it's quite possible for you to create your own realities given the necessary skill sets that you've already acquired. And if you really champion a cause, or you're extremely passionate about something, what better way than to just take the initiative? And the worst that can happen is what? Just get out there and try it.
Just try it,
and do a thing. So again, I think that is just a wonderful human story.
Well, because
you
a
know?
lot of people didn't know what to do with me. You know, I'm a black woman philosopher. How do you do what you need to do? So you have to have the confidence to go, I can do something. Let me try something. And it doesn't hurt to try. You know, failure is not a bad thing.
No.
And it's not even failure if you've tried something. You know, so you just gotta have the confidence to keep going forward and pushing yourself and trying something new and seeing what fits.
How about
And this fit for me.
Okay, glad that it was a good fit for you, because our community is definitely in the future gonna and is now benefiting, from that level of confidence. I laughed with you before we started the show, and I said my son is also going to college now, and he decided that he would have as one of his majors philosophy as well. And when he first said it to me, I was like, why? The first question in this day and age is like, why? And when he explained it to me, it made perfect sense, because you need a certain level of rational, and critical thinking, as well as a balanced understanding and attitude for all different types of people, types of relations. You need to have communication and people skills.
Yes.
And philosophy, seems to be not so far-fetched to aid
It's
and
not.
assist you.
For
with
me,
doing that.
it was, you study what you love.
Yeah.
And as black people, we grow up thinking we have to study what we can work at. It's very different to study what you love and not know that there's a career at the end of it.
Mm.
And I decided to take that path. Let me study what I love, and I'm just going to get an education, and at the end, hopefully it'll work out. And I really think it has. Philosophy was the fit for me, with writing and political science, and it all sort of comes together. It's a different approach. I come from a family of blue-collar workers. It's a different way, but it worked for me.
Did you just feel that this was something that was inevitable for you to start? I mean, I understand, when you say that it just wasn't working out for you and you were very, very different. But like I said, for this kind of an undertaking, a lot of people, like I said, they don't even really think about printed work. They're so involved in any and other aspect, of the media. And since there are so many other opportunities that are really available from that aspect, when you say it was a good fit, how does that marry with you? Like, did it just come to you? Like, hey, today's a good day to start a newspaper.
Hey, how about that? It took a lot of thought, because I would not have thought the newspaper was going to be the outcome. It just started with, how do I make this journalism career work for me? Why is it working for other people and it's not working for me? Why am I not getting the opportunities? And then everyone goes, well, go online and get a blog. And yes, you can do that, except that doesn't generate a good income. That doesn't get me to a place. Then you just have a blog online and nobody really reads it. That's not really what I'm trying to do. And you work at these companies and you see these people who are in management, and you go, you know what, I can do that. And I think I can do that very well, and that's a piece of it. I've always thought that I could, be someone to manage my own business. I would not have dreamed that the newspaper would come out of it. It just, I do a lot of newsletters for people because I'm a writer. And somehow it was like, well, the broadcast thing doesn't really work out. You have to be a CNN or New York One. The blog and the internet thing doesn't work out because you have to bring people there. But this community newspaper thing, there are people that really have huge community newspapers and are really doing well. Why don't we have that to address the needs that the people that I see keep complaining about? Okay, let's make it happen. And why not? And then I think when you do hit a point where you're working your passion and you're following a path, I feel like the universe will meet you and it'll help you along, and suddenly you'll meet this person, I'll meet you, and something will connect, and I'll have some information for you, and you'll have something to help me, and that'll take me to the next step. And there was a lot of that happening. a lot of doors started opening when I started to talk about what the idea was and what the vision was. And then, okay, we'll make it happen. And I'm happy that it's been received very well and that it continues to do well.
I agree, and I think you made some very, very significant and valid points about that. You know, when you definitely start to pursue your passion, and you know, you put it out there, you put it out there into the universe, and you, at some point you're really being true to yourself and true to you know what it is that you kind of feel like God's purpose and design is for you. The universe will start to meet you. I can definitely attest to that. There's so many different initiatives that just in 2012 myself personally that I've stepped out on, that you know I've been talking about for some of these things for a decade. Been sitting in my drawer, already written, already done, and I'm delighted. I'm tickled that you know I'm starting to get phone calls for those kinds of projects that you know I had it in my heart and I had it in my mind for quite some time, that at some point or another this was something that I definitely wanted to do and I wanted to do for my community. And lo and behold, I started to get phone calls, and you know it's a wonderful feeling when you're not taken off guard. And you're like, okay, they're calling me, and I don't have anything, and I don't really know, and these things were already done because, you know, your heart and your mind already prepares you for that space and for that place. So with just some minor tweaks and a little bit here and there, you're already on the road, and you're already on the journey to where, you know, you really are supposed to be.
Yes,
You know,
I have a friend who says, just keep walking through the doors that are being open for you. Because there's going to be fear, there's going to be doubt. What am I doing?
Right.
Just keep walking through the doors that are being open for you, and you'll be led in the right direction.
Definitely. I tell people all the time, some days I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm doing something. And something is better than nothing. And I always had a friend that always told me that an object in motion stays in motion, and an object at rest stays at rest. And I never forgot that. And that's part of, you know, what I'd like for us as, you know, aspiring African Americans to have our children, you know, be able to look at and to, you know, have admiration for and desire and a push within themselves. You know, if Karen can do it, surely I can. And I like the fact that you're a woman who's in this writing and publishing and printing business, because myself and my background, 18 years in advertising and production, when I started in that industry and what I was doing, there weren't a lot of women that were doing it at all. And for me, it was a big fluke. It wasn't even anything that I really aspired to do. I mean, literally like a joke in terms of, you know, and the way I started. I remember I had a friend, and he set me out on this assignment for a temp job, and I'm saying, hey, this is not what you told me that, you know, this job was supposed to be about, and I really don't want anyone to stay. And long story short, he said, just stay, observe, and watch. And if it's still not something that sticks with you and it's not with you, then you know it's not for you. So 18 years later, it's still something that obviously was for me, you know. And it's nice for, like I say, our young ladies and our young men that are coming up now, just to really know that, you know, like you said, blue collar workers, we come from that type of family. So they always wanted us to grow up and be the doctors and the lawyers and, you know, those types of professions that, quote unquote, was typical to command a lot of money. But there's so many different, you know, opportunities out there for young people now that, you know, I say if you just got a little bit of oomph behind you, a little bit of critical thinking and creativity, thinking outside of the box, you won't be pigeonholed to what our country is saying now in terms of where we're in economic dire straits, so on and so forth. You'll be able to flourish.
Yeah, and you want to be able to write your own ticket. I mean, that's a huge piece, you know. I don't know what's going to happen with the economy, but I'm hoping that my skill sets will take me wherever I need to go. Because for some people, there is no unemployment numbers. You know, people who do internet stuff and write Java code, they can walk out of any job tomorrow and get a six-figure job at another place.
Right.
And we have to be able to do that for ourselves. You know, and you want to develop a skill set that will help you no matter which job you're in. You know, skills that can translate. You know, who knows what the future's going to be. Be ready. Have some skills. You know, take something with you. Think about what you like. How can you translate that into something?
Yeah, well, I thank you for having the foresight and the vision, and in a matter of speaking, to trailblaze and to, you know, step out boldly and do this newspaper. Again, I'm very fond of paper.
Thank you.
And, you know, it's honest, I like to read, I love to read magazines. Oh my gosh, I love to read.
Me too.
And it's bad. Sometimes I'm like, okay, I have to get rid of all of these magazines because I hold on to all of them. Of course, I get to look at my ads that I've done throughout the year in a number of magazines also. But, you know, it's just, it's the same thing with books. I still till this day, and it's just me. I don't think that makes me archaic, you know, and I don't think that makes me behind the times. I just have a love for the actual art that goes into actual printing, content, people's, you know, blood, sweat, and tears gone into painting visuals for you through words. I think that it's just so amazing, and I've always tried to share that with my kids as well, just the love of reading and, you know, the love of published works and things. So, yeah, again, I commend you, Karen. I think that this is an amazing initiative, and
Thank
I
you.
wish you every bit of continued success with it. We're gonna look forward to seeing the next issue. Okay, this is February's out, so generally the issue comes out at the beginning of the month or the
Yes,
end?
at the beginning of the month. So
Okay.
right now we're working on the March issue.
Okay.
And that'll be out the first week of March.
Okay, and tell us where the circulation is. Where can we actually find your paper?
You can find it in your local library, you know, the Queens main branch, the St. Albans branch, Rochdale branch, the branches in your area. We were also in Dunkin' Donuts, a big point for us.
Okay.
Because you have to have your coffee and your paper.
There you go.
Especially the Dunkin' Donuts on Laurelton Parkway and Merrick Boulevard. We're in a lot of the supermarkets, Key Food, so if you go to the supermarket, we're right at the checkout. You know, Farmbria, some of the bigger supermarkets in our area, Pathmark that people go to regularly, we're there. And then some of your local restaurants. You want a roti, you'll see the paper there too. A lot of the ATM machines, a lot of them don't let people put papers in, but we do work with a few that are in a couple of key spots like Chase on Merrick. We do those, so we'll put those there.
Okay, great. And I'm noticing that it's free.
Yes,
So-
our community likes free newspapers, and you know it's kind of like a right. You want your news and you want it, you know, available to you, and so that we set it up that way.
Okay. Well, I think that again is really great. You know, it's just an extra added plus that helps. So I'm assuming that the reason why you can make this free is because there's some great advertisers that must
Yes.
be supporting and,
Well,
and sharing it. And
We're hoping to grow that too.
okay.
Advertising it's coming, it's slow, but we're hoping that it'll grow as the paper grows too. And we're also working on the online component too,
Okay.
which would be thecommunitiesofcolor.com.
Okay.
So, and there'll be advertising there and a place to kind of communicate, and you know, so it's still in its infancy, even though we've done 4 issues already. So we still have room to grow.
Okay. Wonderful. And when can we look forward to seeing the internet launch? And
I'm hoping to launch that with the March issue to formally announce it. It's actually up and running now, just under construction, and that's thecommunitiesofcolor.com. But I'm hoping to formally announce it in the March issue coming up.
okay, that's wonderful. So it sounds like you pretty much have all your bases covered here.
Yeah.
From a marketing aspect. You want to tell the audience a little bit, you know, if there are actually services and businesses that are out there, and if they're interested in, you know, being able to advertise in your publication.
Yes,
how
I
they go
think
about
this
doing
is
that.
perfect for local businesses because you have to let residents know you're here. Residents are picking up the paper, they're reading it, they're looking in its pages. So if you are a business and you want to connect with the newspaper, with advertising, with promotional opportunities, you can get in contact with me. My information is in the newspaper. It's on page 8, but you can contact me at clementscommunications@gmail.com. That's clementscommunications@gmail.com. Or you can send me an email, my full name, Karen D. Clements, with my initial, Karen D. Clements @AOL.com.
Well, I think that pretty much says it all. Again, you are a pleasure and a joy and definitely an inspiration to myself personally. I commend you and I wish you every bit of success in whatever you lay your hand to. And I'm going to be looking forward to getting my next monthly issue. And maybe I'll be, at some point or another within the entertainment section.
Quite possibly.
That's right.
I like to focus on wonderful things in the community.
All right. So, audience, again, you have been listening to the wonderful Karen Clements, and we want to thank her again for introducing to our community the wonderful newspaper, Communities of Color. And I'm going to end this segment by saying that we'll probably have some great clips for you within the show, just in honor of Black History Month, and as well as us giving a small tribute to the incomparable Whitney Houston. And I just want to say that please, please, please support this wonderful newspaper. We can't complain about things, and we can't expect for things within our communities to get better if we don't support one another's initiatives and if we don't support one another's businesses. And this young lady is definitely bringing something amazing and positive to our community. So I encourage you all to please go out and support it. Find communities of color in your neighborhood. This is Stacia Hobdy. In all things, I wish you grace, peace, and love, and certainly you should always, always keep it moving. Hey, this is Stacia. We're back, and you're watching Fade to Black. In addition to this show being a segment that we're dedicating to new entrepreneurs as well as new publishers, we wanted to take a moment to give a tribute to some wonderful vocalists that have just recently passed away. Of course, I'm referring to the incomparable Whitney Houston as well as the phenomenal Etta James. Two talents that will greatly, greatly be missed in the music industry. And also, this is Black History Month, which I just recently found out was fully established in 1986. Black History Month for me is relevant and pertinent to our communities as well as to our cultural aspect, because it's finally an acknowledgement of the wonderful achievements that African Americans have made to this country. So we hope that you enjoy this little segment, and I'm going to start it off by just singing a few things a cappella from both Whitney Houston as well as Etta James. Of course, Whitney Houston did this song, I believe, for the soundtrack of the Muhammad Ali movie, The Greatest. I believe the children are our future. Teach them well and let them lead the way. Show them all the beauty they possess inside. Give them a sense of pride to make it easier. Let the children's laughter remind us how we used to be. Everybody searching for a hero, and people need someone to look up to. I never found anyone to fulfill my needs. A lonely place to be. And so I learned to depend on me. I decided long ago never to walk in anyone's shadow.
If I fail, if I succeed, at least I lived as I believe. No matter what they take from me, they can't take away my dignity, because the greatest love of all is happening to me. I found the greatest love of all inside of me. The greatest love of all is easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself is the greatest love of all. And if by chance that special place that you've been dreaming of leads you to a lonely place, then find your strength in love. In love. So that's just a little bit of the greatest love of all, my interpretation, of course. And then, like I said, we do a little bit of Etta James. And I think she used to do a little something like this. At last, my love has come along. My lonely days are over. And life is like a song. Oh yeah. At last, the skies above are blue. My heart was wrapped up in clover. The night I looked at you, I found a dream that I could speak to, a dream that I have needed for so long. I found a thrill to press my cheek to, a thrill that I have never known. Oh yeah, you smiled at me. Oh, and then the spell was cast, and here we are in heaven, for you are mine at last. You are mine at last. So something like that. And lastly, I think we don't want to get away from the fact that both of these women, were in the church when they were younger, and so it would only be fitting for me to just do a little bit of what is one of my favorites, and I know is one of Whitney Houston's favorite songs. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Little ones to him belong. They are weak, but he is strong. Yes, Jesus loves me. Oh, yes, Jesus loves me. Oh, yes, Jesus loves me.
just my small little tribute, and I hope you enjoyed that. And then also, again, I wanted to say thank you so much for tuning in to Fade to Black. It's really important that we try to get out to our audience information about wonderful new entrepreneurs that are in our community. So we hope that in watching this program today and watching the phenomenal Karen Clements, that you will definitely share this with someone else and come out and support. Once again, Stacia Hobdy, Fade to Black. Keep it moving.
Very good, very good.
Keep it moving. God willing, tomorrow